What this episode is really selling is relief. Relief from insignificance, relief from uncertainty, relief from the possibility that the universe is mostly indifferent and we just have to live with that. So it gives you a famous physicist, points him at UFOs, God, immortality, quantum computers, black holes, and consciousness, and lets the authority blur. The central promise isn't just that reality is stranger than you think. It's that somebody important has finally made the strangeness legible. My problem is that the video earns that trust in one register, then spins it in another. At its best, Kaku does what he's been doing for decades: translate intimidating physics into clean, memorable pictures. His explanation of why interstellar travel is brutally hard, why the universe is probably teeming with life and still effectively unreachable, why black holes are not fantasy portals but extreme physical objects. Those are the strongest parts of the interview because they respect scale, energy, and distance. But the episode is titled like a disclosure bombshell, and that framing matters. Once you open with "they are lying to you about UFOs and reality," you're no longer just doing public science. You're staging suspicion as a product. And when the UFO material finally arrives, notice how careful Kaku often is compared to the machinery around him. He doesn't actually deliver the sensational certainty the packaging implies. The substantive claim is much narrower. The universe is so large that life elsewhere is likely, and some reported phenomena deserve investigation. Fair enough. But that is a very different claim from governments are hiding aliens or non-human intelligence has visited Earth. The episode keeps those ideas in the same emotional room. Probability of life elsewhere becomes atmosphere for speculation about visitation, and that's where the evidence does less work than the title suggests. The best section, by far, is where the romance gets interrupted by physics. Kaku explains that the nearest stars are not spiritually far away, they are mechanically far away. Tens of thousands of years with current propulsion. Civilizations can exist and still be functionally isolated from one another. That's good science communication because it reintroduces constraint. It punctures the lazy sci-fi intuition that once aliens are possible, anything is possible. In a better episode, that discipline would govern the whole conversation. Here it mostly serves as a brief sobriety break before the show wanders back into metaphysical buffet service. The deepest structural problem is the way string theory functions in the interview, not as a settled body of evidence, but as an authority transfer device. Kaku is absolutely qualified to talk about why physicists search for unification and why mathematics can be beautiful, generative, even eerily explanatory. But the episode often lets that bleed into a softer claim. Because the mathematics reaches beyond everyday intuition, maybe simulation theory, multiverses, or hidden dimensions should feel emotionally plausible too. That's the hidden assumption. A frontier theory is treated less like a contested research program and more like a permission slip for cosmic speculation. This is where the evidence gets interesting, because the episode keeps crossing the line between physicists have models and reality is probably this. On the Big Bang, black holes, and the multiverse, Kaku is often describing serious theoretical possibilities. But possibilities are not conclusions. Inflationary cosmology, baby universes, information puzzles, extra dimensions, these are not nonsense topics. They're real areas of inquiry. The issue is rhetorical compression. Several open problems get narrated with the confidence of a guided tour. A viewer without the background to separate elegant conjecture from hard empirical footing is left with the feeling that the map is much more complete than it is. Then the interview starts doing something morally stranger. It turns every domain of uncertainty into the same kind of content. Physics becomes theology, becomes simulation theory, becomes evolutionary psychology, becomes a meditation on meaning. That can be fascinating if the host keeps tightening the standards of proof as the subject gets softer. Here the opposite happens. The standards loosen as the emotional stakes rise. Questions about God and simulation aren't treated as philosophical exercises with radically different methods and evidentiary rules. They're folded into the same vibe of science is catching up to ancient mystery. It's a beautiful mood. It is not the same thing as an argument. The weakest substantive section might be the techno-futurist warning language around AI and quantum computing. Kaku has every right to be taken seriously on technological trajectories, but quantum computers will soon crack every bank account and digital code is exactly the kind of line that needs friction, caveats, and timeline discipline. Which cryptographic systems? Under what assumptions about error correction, scalability, hardware, migration to post-quantum cryptography? The video prefers autospecificity. Same with AI. It gestures at both existential possibility and current limitation, but mostly is a way of keeping the audience in a state of productive unease. And the immortality segment is where the whole format gives itself away. Not because life extension research is unserious, it isn't, but because the episode's emotional economy depends on collapsing categories: longevity science, speculative biotech, philosophical hope, and tabloid promise all get placed under one umbrella of the secret already exists. That phrase matters. It converts an ongoing research frontier into a revelation narrative. It flatters the viewer with the sense that the future is being withheld from ordinary people and unlocked by this conversation. Again, not necessarily false, but framed to feel much more decisive than the underlying evidence warrants. I don't want to flatten this into a hit piece, because Kaku is doing something valuable here too. He has a real gift for making viewers care about abstraction. When he talks about the hidden patterns of nature, the ambition of a theory of everything, or why the universe can make us feel small without making life meaningless, the interview briefly becomes what it should have been all along. A conversation with a public intellectual who knows the difference between wonder and evidence, and can hold both. Those moments land because they are humble about what science can actually certify. The production choices only matter because they sharpen this authority drift. The studio is calm, expensive, intimate. The host mostly plays fascinated proxy for the audience. On-screen community notes briefly appear almost like a conscience trying to break into the room. But the format rarely stops the guest at the exact moment a claim gets too portable. It doesn't ask, is that a metaphor, a forecast, or a tested result? So the show ends up treating a physicist less as a specialist and more as a licensed interpreter of reality itself. That's intoxicating television. It's also how categories quietly collapse. My verdict is that this is a smart, seductive, intermittently excellent interview that overstates its own epistemic confidence. Its strongest claims are the ones that impose limits. The scale of the cosmos, the brutality of travel, the openness of unanswered questions, the sheer weirdness of modern physics without pretending the weirdness is settled. Its weakest habit is taking those earned moments of clarity and using them to launder much softer material. UFO insinuation, immortality hype, quantum alarmism, simulation flirtation, through the aura of scientific seriousness. It's not empty. It's worse than empty, in a way. It's full of real insight, and that's exactly why the overreach is easy to miss. If you want more reviews like this, where the interesting part isn't whether a guest is smart, but where the video quietly spins that intelligence, subscribe. Those are the conversations worth dissecting.